Before binge-watching became a nightly ritual, the 1970s served up an eclectic buffet of television experiments that dared to defy formulas. Some flickered for a single season, others vanished beneath the shadow of powerhouse hits. Yet each left behind a spark of innovation worth remembering. Tonight we dust off 20 lost gems and revive the wonder they once inspired together. 1. The Magician, 1973 to 1974. Imagine a crime drama where every cliffhanger is resolved not with brute force, but with a flourish of sleight of hand. Bill Bixby's Anthony Blake, Vegas headliner turned vigilante, uses stagecraft, lockpicking, and psychological misdirection to outwit blackmailers and kidnappers. The pilot alone has Blake escaping a full-size safe dangling over Hoover Dam, while villains stare in slack-jawed disbelief. Viewers used to trench-coat detectives suddenly met a hero in a velvet tuxedo, gliding from private jets to backstage catwalks with Houdini-grade swagger. Producer Bruce Lansbury demanded authentic sorcery, no camera fakery, so Bixby shadowed master illusionists for months, perfecting coin rolls and dramatic flourishes. That authenticity meant elaborate sets, spiraling budgets, and night shoots where cast and crew rehearsed card manipulations until sunrise. Episodes filmed on snowy ski resorts, luxury trains, even the Queen Mary, each escaped grander than the last. CBS loved the spectacle, but hated the price tag. After one season, the network replaced Blake's Velvet with safer polyester sitcoms. Still, the concept's DNA slipped into later caper shows like Leverage, and David Copperfield credits Bixby's suave confidence for shaping his own TV persona. Forgotten by Nielsen books but cherished by dreamers, The Magician proves the greatest trick isn't the illusion, it's daring to imagine a different kind of hero. Second Quark, 1977 to 1978. Long before The Orville poked fun at Star Cruiser culture, NBC blasted off with Quark, a screwball space opera led by Richard Benjamin as Captain Adam Quark of the United Galactic Sanitation Patrol vessel. His mandate? Scour the cosmos for interstellar trash. Co-creator Buck Henry, fresh off Get Smart, loaded each script with sight gags and zingers skewering Star Trek, government red tape, and disco-era gender politics. Quark's motley crew sported identical clone sisters, both named Betty, a plant-based life form convinced he was human, and a neurotic robot eager for therapy. Born as an April Fool's special, the show morphed into an 8-episode run. Sets were scavenged from mothballed pilots, giving corridors a thrift store charm, yet the writing stayed razor-sharp. One week, Quark battles a ravenous energy cloud shaped like a giant vacuum cleaner. The next, he's trapped in a time loop cleaning the same asteroid forever. Dialogue gleefully breaks the fourth wall. Quark files expense reports for photon torpedoes and gripes about union dues. Despite cult buzz, Quark aired opposite Donnie and Marie and Friday Night Football. Ratings kryptonite. Special effects budgets were so thin that laser blasts were drawn directly onto the film with colored grease pencils. NBC axed the series, leaving a cliffhanger where a sentient trash heap declared galactic dominion. Today, diehards still host micro-panels at conventions, cosplaying sanitation officers with vacuum ray guns, while shows like Futurama and Red Dwarf echo Quark's cosmic comedy blueprint. 3. The Fantastic Journey, 1977. Take Bermuda Triangle legend, add time travel, and sprinkle in telepathy, and you get The Fantastic Journey, a 10-episode odyssey that turned prime time into a metaphysical playground. A neon green squall strands scientists, hippie wanderers, and a pre-Ice Castle's teen idol on an island where centuries collide. One beach opens to a 16th century pirate cove, another to a 23rd century crystal city ruled by benevolent androids. Writers consulted futurists and anthropologists tackling ecological collapse, AI ethics, and colonial reparations. Heady fare for a Tuesday night adventure slot. Budgets stretched by repainting sets weekly. Palm frond huts became Martian biodomes with metallic spray paint. pirate caves doubled as underground computer servers, blinking with repurposed Christmas lights. Joan Collins, Shelley Fabares, even a young Garrett Graham guest-starred, lending gravitas to the philosophical debates. NBC canceled the series mid-season, branding it conceptually dense, but its ripple endures. Future Star Trek Voyager showrunner Jerry Taylor cites its morality tales as inspiration, while bootleg VHS copies traded hands at conventions for decades. Fans still pine for that promised gateway home, proof that even brief detours can leave indelible footprints in sci-fi history. And for those who stumbled on the show late at night, its abrupt disappearance felt like being shoved through one more mysterious portal, straight back to ordinary TV. 4. The Gemini Man, 1976. Universal Television had leftover invisibility tech from 1975's The Invisible Man, so producer Harve Bennett spun it into The Gemini Man. Government agent Sam Casey can vanish for exactly 15 minutes a day, controlled by a digital wristwatch called a DNA stabilizer. Fail to rematerialize in time, and he'll scatter into molecules. Cue ticking clock tension, surfboard cool attitude, and delightfully cheesy 1970s synthesizer stings. Counting those metaphorical 15 minutes wasn't just narrative spice, it saved money. Optical effects houses charged by the frame, so writers delayed Casey's vanish until Act 3. Episodes mixed Cold War espionage with California beach vibes. Casey masquerades as a surfer to infiltrate a Soviet submarine disguised as a tramp steamer. Another week, he wrestles an unseen Bengal tiger beneath a circus big top. Stuntmen flung themselves across empty sets, while crew members yanked props with fishing line to simulate invisible fists. Despite Ben Murphy's charismatic grin and floating hot dog gags, the series disappeared after 11 episodes. NBC worried kids would imitate Casey by hiding under blankets, while low ratings sealed its fate. Only a 2-hour TV movie compiled from unaired episodes survived in late-night syndication, mesmerizing insomniac teens. Collectors now trade laserdiscs like contraband, and Marvel writers have cited the show's countdown clock as inspiration whenever a hero announces, "I've got 10 minutes left." The Gemini Man proves invisibility and television fame always comes with an expiration date. 5. Lucan, 1977 to 1978. Years before gritty Tarzan reboots, ABC unveiled Lucan, the saga of a boy raised by wolves who must navigate suburban America. Kevin Brophy's Lucan, rescued from Minnesota forests, spends a decade at a research institute before a lab fire propels him into the wider world. He possesses enhanced senses, gentle humility, and, when threatened, a feral strength that sends slow-motion stuntmen flying like rag dolls. Beneath the cuddly premise lurked sharp social commentary. Episodes asked what civilization really means. Lucan helps migrant workers battle exploitative ranchers, tutors inner-city kids in wilderness survival, and squares off against trophy hunters. Directors favored real landscapes over studio backlots, dusty canyons, snowy woodlands, capturing Lucan's communion with nature. Weather delays ballooned costs, and ABC tinkered mid-season by adding a relentless bounty hunter to juice ratings, unintentionally shifting the tone from reflective to chase movie. Numbers slipped, yet fan mail flooded in from viewers alienated by suburbia's conformity. Brophy personally answered letters, stamping them with a faux wolf paw print. After 14 episodes, ABC pulled the plug, leaving a cliffhanger, Lucan hitchhiking toward North Carolina after learning his birth father might still live. Today, the series lurks in niche streaming corners where binge-watchers celebrate its earnest heart. Its DNA echoes through characters like Wolverine and Netflix's Sweet Tooth, proof audiences always root for outsiders who refuse to abandon their wild souls. 6. Logan's Run, 1977 to 1978. When MGM's 1976 cult film about a hedonistic future, capped at age 30, became a syndicated phenomenon, CBS rushed a small-screen sequel. The budget shrank, but the premise expanded. Logan 5 and Jessica 6 escape their domed city, partnering with android scholar REM to search for sanctuary. Filmed around California's Vasquez Rocks and the gleaming new campus of Pepperdine University, each episode transforms everyday locations into sleek post-apocalyptic ruins. Producers repurposed Moonbase Alpha corridors from Space 1999, then drenched them in neon gels to fake computer mainframes. Storylines tackled mind control, environmental collapse, and eugenics, surprisingly heady for a Friday night action slot. Yet ratings suffered opposite The Love Boat. Only 14 of 17 scripts aired, leaving viewers dangling on clues about Sanctuary's coordinates. Still, its synth-heavy score and shimmering costumes influenced later series like Buck Rogers and even the techno-utopian visuals of Daft Punk music videos. Today, fans restore 16mm prints, frame by frame, hoping one day to finish the run Logan never could. 7. Salvage 1, 1979. What if a junkyard owner decided he could fly to the moon, scoop up abandoned Apollo hardware, and sell it for scrap? That wild question powered Salvage 1, starring Andy Griffith as Harry Broderick, a charming rogue who builds a cobbled-together rocket dubbed the Vulture using cement mixer drums, telephone poles, and a stolen Saturn V guidance computer. The pilot's practical effects, miniature launches filmed in a rock quarry, looked so plausible the FAA fielded real inquiries about private moon missions. Weekly episodes evolved into a MacGyver-style caravan of capers, raising sunken treasure with styrofoam pellets, hijacking a glacier to Arizona, liberating dinosaurs frozen in Antarctic ice. Scripts balanced goofy optimism with blue-collar ingenuity, reflecting post-Vietnam America's yearning to achieve big dreams without NASA's billions. ABC's shifting time slots and a costly launch sequence every episode doomed the show after 16 stories, but Elon Musk once cited Harry Broderick as childhood proof that audacity beats pedigree. 8. The Invisible Man, 1975 to 1976. Long before CGI made vanishing easy, creator Stephen Bochco devised Daniel Weston, a physicist who accidentally renders himself permanently invisible and works for the Clay Corporation in hopes of restoring his visage. Actor David McCallum wore skin-tight black velvet and full-head masks painted to match backgrounds, painful under studio lights but mesmerizing on screen. Directors plotted elaborate mirror shots and floating object choreography that pushed 1970s optical printers to their limits. The pilot wowed audiences with a tense embassy break-in, yet network execs insisted on lightening the tone, morphing Weston from brooding scientist to suave globetrotter. The tonal whiplash confused viewers. NBC canceled after 12 episodes, though composer Henry Mancini's jazz-funk main theme lives on in crate digger playlists. The show's pioneering matte techniques later trained crews who perfected the cloaking effects in Predator, proving even unseen heroes leave a visible legacy. 9. The Oregon Trail, 1977. While Little House on the Prairie romanticized frontier life, NBC's The Oregon Trail embraced its brutality. Rod Taylor plays Evan Thorpe, a widower leading a wagon train west with 3 children and a revolving door of settlers, each nursing secret sins. Filmed on dusty Utah deserts, the production imported authentic Conestoga wagons and 400 head of cattle, turning every shoot into a logistical stampede. Episodes confronted cholera epidemics, indigenous land rights, and vigilante justice with stark honesty. One harrowing hour sees Thorpe amputate a traveler's leg after a rattlesnake bite, the camera lingering on the improvised saw. Critics praised the grit, but families recoiled, preferring gentler fare. Only 6 of 13 episodes aired before NBC rerouted its schedule, but the series pioneered the prestige Western template, later revived by Deadwood and 1883. In archives, an unaired finale shows Thorpe cresting the Blue Mountains, tears mixing with rain, a forgotten dream of manifest destiny, achieved at soul-shaking cost. 10. Cliffhangers, 1979. Attempting to resurrect 1930s movie serial thrills, creator Kenneth Johnson packaged 3 rotating miniseries into a single hour. Stop Susan Williams, a globe-trotting conspiracy yarn; The Secret Empire, a sci-fi western set in subterranean Scalendia; and Dracula 79, which reimagined the Count as a suave art dealer in modern San Francisco. Each week, all 3 chapters ended mid-peril: runaway trains, disintegrator beams, blood-stained wedding veils, only to resolve 7 days later. Production raced like its title: 3 distinct casts, sets, and composers juggled simultaneously. NBC promoted it as triple the action, triple the danger, but audiences found the format dizzying. Ratings fell, and after 10 episodes, the network axed the show, leaving most storylines unresolved. Yet Cliffhangers lit a spark in future anthology innovators. American Horror Story creator Ryan Murphy cites its genre-blending audacity as inspiration, while Netflix's binge model finally realizes the serialized suspense Johnson dreamed of. Somewhere, those unfinished reels still dangle audiences over narrative precipices, daring us to imagine how the hero escapes. 11. The Man from Atlantis, 1977 to 1978. Long before Aquaman ruled multiplexes, NBC unveiled Mark Harris, the last survivor of Atlantis, washing ashore with gills behind his ears and webbed fingers glinting beneath Los Angeles sun. Patrick Duffy trained with Navy SEALs to perfect that dolphin kick glide, holding his breath for nearly 3 minutes as underwater cameras trailed his yellow wetsuit through Catalina coves. Each week, the Foundation for Oceanic Research dispatched Harris to foil nuclear pirates, rescue deep-sea archaeologists, or decode alien sonar pulses. Producers built a full-scale submarine set on hydraulic lifts. When waves slammed its hull, the entire soundstage trembled like a tectonic plate. Scripts wove ecological warnings, dead coral reefs, melting ice caps into pulpy cliffhangers, making the show oddly prophetic. Yet ratings sank opposite Happy Days, and a Roquefort-smelling rubber suit triggered mildew crises that ballooned budgets. Canceled after 13 episodes, it still birthed comic books, French novels, and most memorably, Duffy's future role as Bobby Ewing, a land-locked echo of television's first water-breathing hero. 12th, Holmes and YoYo, 1976-1977. Picture The Odd Couple if one roommate weighed 427 pounds of titanium. Detective Alexander Holmes, forever-breaking partners, is paired with YoYo, the police department's hush-hush android designed to look like an eager rookie. Every malfunction becomes slapstick. YoYo's arm tears off while hailing a cab, his chest printer spits parking tickets mid-shootout, and an electromagnet erases his memory during a stakeout at a junkyard. Producers hired mime Lauren Schaefer to advise star John Schuck on robot posture, while sound editors layered whirring camera shutter clicks beneath every movement. NBC hoped young viewers would adore gadget gags, but adults grumbled the sci-fi premise cheapened crime-buster formulas. 13 episodes aired, the finale featuring YoYo disguising himself as a vending machine to eavesdrop on crooks, pure comic brilliance now buried in vaults. Yet the show's notion of a synthetic sidekick paved the circuitry for Data on Star Trek TNG and almost every buddy cop with a twist trope since. 13. Project UFO, 1978 to 1979. 2 crisp uniformed Air Force investigators roar across 1970s America in a Cessna, probing saucer sightings for the real-world Project Blue Book. Producer Jack Webb swapped dragnets, staccato cop lingo, for dead-serious military jargon. Ma'am, we're here to catalog your nocturnal luminous phenomenon. Episodes dramatized actual declassified reports, a Texas sheriff chased by a glowing egg, Montana ranchers discovering cattle marked with surgical precision, then weighed prosaic weather balloon theories against eerie unanswered data. Directors filmed night. skies with infrared stock to let distant crop-dusting lights bloom into spectral halos, and Nielsen families scribbled frantic notes on every technical detail. But Webb's insistence on procedural monotone clashed with audiences craving flashy laser beams and Little Green Men theatrics. After 2 seasons, NBC grounded the series, yet modern hits like The X-Files and Project Blue Book 2019 trace their DNA back to Webb's stoic search for truth above the clouds. 14. Apple's Way, 1974-1975. At a time when sitcom suburbs beamed in pastel perfection, CBS introduced the Apple family, big city refugees trading LA smog for Kansas wheat fields. Creator Earl Hamner Jr., fresh from The Waltons, aimed to examine social change through wholesome heartland eyes. Episodes tackle Vietnam PTSD, school integration, and factory pollution, all filtered through architect George Apple's idealistic blueprints. Producers rebuilt an entire Midwestern town facade on Warner Brothers' backlot. Real livestock wandered Main Street, occasionally photobombing takes. Critics applauded the gentle conscience, but younger viewers dismissed it as too preachy during a Watergate-weary season. CBS shuffled time slots, ratings wilted, and by spring the Apples packed off-screen, their half-renovated farmhouse left echoing with unspoken lessons. Syndication never materialized, yet collectors swapped 16mm reels, preserving a portrait of Americana wrestling with progress. Proof even quiet voices deserve archival memory. 15. When Things Were Rotten, 1975. Mel Brooks took aim at Sherwood Forest long before Men in Tights, crafting a zany sitcom where Robin Hood's merry men squabble like Catskills comedians. Dick Gautier's Robin cracks vaudeville zingers, while Friar Tuck sells black market indulgences and Maid Marian operates a feminist school teaching self-defense with knitting needles. Sets recycled castle walls from horror flicks, then splashed them with neon banners reading "Ye Old Food Stamps." Brooks mandated jokes per minute, rival a machine gun. Writers pinned kitchen timers set to 30 seconds. Any lull meant rewriting. ABC slotted the show opposite Little House on the Prairie, and Middle America balked at Monty Python-level absurdity. Canceled after 13 episodes, it lived on as legendary bootleg tapes passed among college improv troupes. The series' rapid-fire anachronisms later informed Brooks's own film spoof and prepared audiences for irreverent history rewrites from Horrible Histories to Gallivant. Sometimes the best arrow misses its target, yet still splits our sides with laughter. 16. Carter Country, 1977-1979. Long before Parks and Recreation mined laughs from municipal minutia, ABC parked us in Clinton Corners, Georgia, a one-traffic light town where Sheriff Roy Moby and Police Chief Roy Moby, yes, 2 Roys, an inside joke, wrestled with the new South sprouting beneath dusty magnolias. At its center stood Mayor Lobo P. Dill, a glad-handing good old boy who measured success in ribbon cuttings and catfish fries. Creator Austin Kalish based the show on his own culture shock while visiting small-town courthouses during the Carter presidential campaign, and he insisted on scripts that balanced slapstick with honest debates about desegregation, women joining the force, and Vietnam vets returning home. Cast members rehearsed in a mock city hall built on Stage 12, complete with squeaky screen doors and a Coca-Cola machine always on the fritz, an ad-lib gold mine. Episodes opened with banjo twang, then spiraled into comedic chaos. Bumbling deputies accidentally swap evidence lockers, the mayor sells naming rights to the water tower, and a visiting state senator mistakes the county jail for a bed and breakfast. Ratings started strong, but a Saturday night slot change stranded the show opposite heavyweight Chips. When ABC canned it after 2 seasons, actors discovered the cancellation by spotting their own set in dumpsters behind the studio. Today, scattered bootlegs reveal a sitcom that dared to ask, amid all the cornpone gags, how do you modernize a town that would rather stay frozen in amber? 17. The New Adventures of Wonder Woman, Season 3's Diana Prince Super Reporter arc, 1979. Few remember that before Clark Kent starred in Lois and Clark, Diana Prince briefly traded spin moves for press passes. In Season 3 of The New Adventures of Wonder Woman, network bosses feared viewers were tiring of pure superheroics. Their fix: repositioned Diana as globe-trotting investigative journalist for the Interagency Defense Command, cracking conspiracies that mirrored real headlines: nuclear leaks, hijacked satellites, rogue dictators bankrolled by secret cartels. Linda Carter relished the Clark Kent-style undercover work, shadowing journalists at the Los Angeles Times to nail the cadence of hushed phone calls and off-the-record winks. The arc's centerpiece episode, The Starships Are Coming, saw Diana expose a phony alien invasion staged by defense contractors to secure weapons funding. Social commentary disguised behind silver jumpsuits and disco fog. But production headaches mounted. New newsroom sets, inflated budgets, and location shoots around Washington, D.C. clashed with Carter's concert schedule. Ratings held steady, yet CBS executives panicked when merchandise sales dipped. Kids preferred action figure battles over investigative exposés. The series was quietly shelved after the arc, leaving Diana's notepad frozen mid-scoop. Still, decades later, Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 1984 nods to the undercover reporter motif, proof that even sideline chapters sow seeds for future mythos. 18. Colchack The Nightstalker, 1974-1975. Before Mulder chased cigar-smoking men, Chicago tabloid reporter Carl Colchack stalked the Windy City's darkest corners in a powder-blue seersucker suit, camera slung like a talisman. Every week, his battered Mustang squealed into alleys where the supernatural masqueraded as street crime, a vampire in the freight tunnels, a headless motorcyclist roaring down Lakeshore Drive, an Aztec mummy stealing hearts from museum guards. Producer Dan Curtis shot guerrilla style after midnight, using mercury vapor streetlights to bathe scenes in sickly green, saving cash while amplifying dread. Darren McGavin ad-libbed nervous wisecracks. "I'm a coward, not a corpse," transforming Colchack into horror's first relatable wise guy. Yet network censors balked at severed limbs and blood-slick morgues, ordering reshoots that dulled the menace, and critics dismissed the show as too scary for TV, too cheap for cinema. Ratings slipped, ABC canceled after 20 episodes, and Colchack slunk into late-night reruns where adolescent insomniacs discovered him anew. Among them, Chris Carter, who later built The X-Files as a spiritual sequel, even casting McGavin as a shadowy mentor. In pop culture's moonlit genealogy, Colchack remains the scrappy ancestor whose tape-recorded growls warned us. "There are things in the night newspapers won't print, but you'll believe them when they're biting your neck." 19. Petruccio, 1974-1976. Tired of mahogany-paneled Manhattan courtrooms, NBC transplanted Harvard-educated attorney Tony Petruccio to dusty San Remo, Arizona, where he defended ranchers, drifters, and gas station attendants from trumped-up murder raps. Barry Newman's Petruccio shunned fancy offices, holding client meetings in his Airstream trailer parked under saguaro silhouettes, always ready to hit the road for a sudden alibi. Episodes unfolded like sun-bleached puzzles. Flashbacks contradicted witness accounts, desert winds erased crucial footprints, and Petruccio pieced timelines together with chalk sketches on the trailer wall. Directors exploited Monument Valley vistas at dawn, painting justice in ochre and crimson. The legal reversals were so intricate that law schools requested scripts for evidence class discussions. But production costs soared. Crew bussed daily from Tucson to remote mesas, and Newman performed his own high-speed driving scenes, shredding tires weekly. Though critics praised its cinematic scope, Thursday night audiences preferred the laugh track of Barney Miller. After 2 seasons, NBC rendered its verdict: canceled. Yet Petruccio's underdog grit lives on in every road warrior attorney drama, from Matlock to Better Call Saul, proof that justice can bloom in even the driest soil. The Ghostbusters, 1975. A decade before proton packs, Filmation unleashed The Ghostbusters, a live-action Saturday morning whirlwind where bumbling spook chasers Jake Kong, Eddie Spencer, and their talking gorilla Tracy crammed haunted house hijinks into 22 frenetic minutes. Each mission began in a junk shop cluttered with cobwebbed gadgets, radar vacuums, spirit stethoscopes, and a teleporting payphone that spat cryptic assignments. Producers shot on standing Western sets at Paramount Ranch, repurposing saloons into Victorian manors with a fog machine and purple gels. Rubber mask specters ranged from pharaohs to pirates, all defeated by banana peel pratfalls and Tracy's booming chest thumps. The series leaned into pun-heavy titles. The Canterville Ghost, They Went That-A-Way, and ended each episode with a fourth wall-breaking moral punchline. Ratings spiked among sugar cereal warriors, but Filmation's budget vs. effects tug-of-war proved fatal. Renting a live gorilla wrangler each week drained coffers, and CBS opted for cheaper animated fare. Still, Columbia Pictures paid licensing fees for the 1984 Blockbusters title, acknowledging the show's spectral lineage. Today, collectors prize lunchboxes emblazoned with Tracy's grin, a cardboard echo of Saturday mornings when ghostbusting meant slapstick, not slime. 20 forgotten series, 20 passports to a wilder, braver era of television. If even one sparked a memory or plant, a new curiosity, hit like, share this time capsule, and subscribe for more deep dive documentaries. Your click keeps these lost signals alive, shining their retro glow onto a brand new audience.